Hey everybody, Jackson Fuller here along with Owen Hassell. We're back again for another preview of Football Friday, even though it's not quite as filled of a Friday schedule as we would like, or I think as many of the high school football fans in southeastern North Carolina would like. But we do still have 3 games going on tomorrow, and we had 3 games played last night in local football. So there is still football going on this week. I know teams at New Hanover, West Brunswick, and North and South Brunswick won't be a part of the action this week, but at least we've got something, Owen, that we can kind of go out and cover this Friday night.
Yeah, and with the storm, I should say storms now with Hurricane Florence, it's now passed, and then Hurricane Michael coming through now, basically tropical depression. I guess at this point was enough to do the right thing just to make sure, and Brunswick schools closing for Thursday and Friday, which puts another dent in the schedule and how you're going to move things around, because in football you can't just play like 3 games in a week kind of deal. So it'll just be something to where how's the Mid-Eastern deal with that, but at least you err on the side of safety, which is what you need to do.
Right.
And some teams able to play on Wednesday, like you said.
Yeah, so we had 3 games last night in the area. Trask topped East Carteret 35-33. Big win for the Titans. They're still 2-0 in conference play. Wallace Rose Hill rolled over Midway 69-0. And they're also still undefeated. And Pender fell to Dixon 56-29. Patriots still winless on the year. Dixon got their first win of the season last night. But let's talk about tomorrow night. We're going to be covering 2 games. Owen will be over at Ashley High School, where the Screaming Eagles welcome Hoggard to town, a little ILM rivalry game. And I will be at Laney High School, where the Buccaneers are hosting Topsail. Hoggard and Ashley first. Owen, very disappointing performance from Ashley last week, getting shut out by North Brunswick. Hoggard, on the other hand, scored 31 points against West Brunswick, pitched a shutout. 2 teams kind of going in opposite directions right now.
Yeah, and if you had said before the last Friday, how this could have matched up, you would have thought with Mackay Stanley and Ashley, maybe they make some noise against Hoggard. I don't know for how long, but now you look at it and you go, wow, you got shut out by North Brunswick. Now you're going up against, probably for the second straight year, the best defense in the Mid-Eastern Conference. Kind of be hard to argue with that, although Laney, despite the record, could make some say as at least a top-level defense in the league. That is a heck of a mountain to climb. It was going to be anyway. Mackay Stanley's going to have he's going to get back to that Mackay Stanley that we started to see the first few weeks. And maybe with the storm, too, a lot of awkward results.
Yeah,
from this past Friday and even Wednesday, things that we kind of looked at each other and went, wow, that happened, or they scored that many points, or this, because everyone's trying to get themselves back into that mode, back into shape, and you're going to see, I think you're still going to see some of that this coming Friday.
I agree. I mean, we had 4 shutouts last week in the Mid-Eastern Conference. That's just, I can't imagine that's ever happened before, where all the losing teams don't score a single point. You talk about Ashley over on the Hoggard side of things. Sounds like they're finding new ways to get all of their receivers involved. Anthony Schiavone had a rushing touchdown against West Brunswick last week. Chris Tootle continues to be really effective out of the Wildcat. And C.J. Pipkin is their leading receiver so far. I mean, those 3 guys we said coming into the season, they made up maybe one of the best wide receiver corps in the entire state. And, nothing against Gabe Johnson. I think he's getting better every week as a sophomore quarterback. But they don't have the type of quarterback that they had last year in Josh Jones. So they're needing to develop some new ways to get those guys the ball easily. And it sounds like handing it off to them every once in a while or just letting them take a direct snap is a smart way to do that.
And you only find that out through more games of the season. And at this point, you had about a month almost where you didn't play, and that hurt in that aspect too, not just because you weren't playing, but these were different ways you could have figured out how better to get the ball to these playmakers and do what you can do with them. And so maybe not just through one game, it's still going to take some time to where Hoggard can best utilize their offense, but it's nice to have those options.
Yeah, and Jordan Ricky's really come into his own, a junior running back who's leading the Vikings in rushing this season. So for them, it's all about keeping the offense rolling, and they've got after this they've got a challenge ahead of them on Tuesday, home against Topsail, who's undefeated, and that's who I'll be seeing on Friday night when the Pirates travel to Laney to play the Buccaneers. Since Topsail joined the Mid-Eastern Conference in 2013, they're 0-5 against Laney. So, you look at the records, 5-0 Topsail, 1-4 Laney. You would look at that and say, oh, this should be a breeze for Topsail, but I think the Buccaneers are going to have something to say about that, and it's going to be a pretty close game just based on these two teams' history and their strength of schedules. I mean, Laney's clearly played a tougher schedule. There's a reason that they're 1-4 right now.
And I've been impressed by Laney's defense once again throughout the year, and throwing out once again the 1-4 record. You said it, that tougher strength of schedule, partly to be the reason for that. Sherrod Sidbury's back off the 1-game suspension, so there's going to be a little bit of excitement there. You're at Laney as well. This is
first home game after the storm for the Bucks.
First home game after the storm. I mean, there's a lot of different things involved. We just said before, after the storm, we saw some weird results this past Friday. I mean, some teams winning that maybe we expected, but at the same time, just some results, other things we weren't expecting in those games. For example, New Hanover not scoring an offensive touchdown until 2 minutes left or whatever in the fourth quarter. If you had told me that what's going to happen before the game, I'd say, wow, Laney gets an upset.
Yeah, well, didn't pan out that
way.
No,
the turnovers. But
it's funny. My inner dialogue was just thinking, if you're Topsail and you want to win a conference championship, you have to win this game by 2 touchdowns. But at the same time, you just have to win if it's a team that you've never beaten and you haven't beaten in over 5 years.
Don't make it too complicated, Jackson.
Any win right now would be a sign that. Yeah. So, like this season, we've said, can we see signs of progress within the Topsail program that it's different than last year? We saw it in week 1 where they went on the road and beat South Brunswick by 38 points. Are we going to see another one today where they finally beat Laney, get over a 4A MEC hump, and move to 2-0 and set up a really intriguing matchup on Tuesday that we're going to, I'm sure, talk a lot about next week?
I believe it's going to happen because Coach Wayne Inman can easily keep that narrative going that, guys, we still aren't favored. Mm-hmm. We're still underdogs.
Yeah.
People still don't respect us. They can pull that respect card. They still don't think
we respect you.
We
want to see. I'm
saying what Coach Inman is going to be able to tell his guys is, well, no one still does that. No, and you can say that when other people do respect, and you can get in the minds of kids real quick that way, and they say, hey, we're gonna fight tooth and nail to show that we're deserving of this 5-0 record because we're going to make it 6-0.
Right, absolutely. And I think we'd be remiss not to talk about a big reason Topsail is undefeated so far, and they look like a different team. Is Cody Wallace, the quarterback. Got to see him live for the first time last week. He's not going to complete 80-75% of his passes, but if a receiver's open streaking down the middle, he's going to make that throw, and that's something the Pirates haven't had the past couple of years, even when they've had a dynamic player like Noah Laval in the backfield.
And because so much has been put on him.
Yeah.
And last year, not only was a lot put on him, then he was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't even 100%. So now you take that and say, now you're 100%, Noah. And you've got a capable quarterback, and you've got Hayden Walsh. There's another team with some options again.
There's other pieces there. Yeah, absolutely. The final local game Friday night is Whiteville traveling to Red Springs. Really a critical game in the Three Rivers Conference because both of these teams already have a loss, and they're both chasing East Bladen and South Columbus, who are undefeated. And, if you want to win a conference championship, you can't be 2 games back just 3-4 weeks into the conference season. So the loser of this game probably is going to say goodbye to their conference championship hopes, and the winner still controls their own destiny because they could, it doesn't control their own destiny, but you could hypothetically win out and get 1 game of help and be a co-champion, which is exactly what Whiteville did last year. Red Springs is averaging 40 points a game. Hard to tell much more about them. Looking on Max Preps, the stats aren't very updated, but I know Whiteville has been so good offensively this season because not only of Ty Moss, but junior running back Javante Davis, who I think is the 3rd leading rusher in the area. So the Wolfpack can definitely keep up with Red Springs. Which defense shows up and plays the better game will probably determine who wins that contest.
You talk about Whiteville, the Fighting Ty Mosses, but you said it too. Another team with an option or two beyond him. And with that conference, the idea of mo money, mo problems, mo teams, mo problems, because you got so many teams in that league where you say a team would probably be out of it. I don't know necessarily you're out of it in that league because you had 3 champions last year.
They're not out of it, but the mountain to climb gets a whole lot steeper for whichever team loses this game, especially since both of them, Whiteville's loss came to East Blade and Red Springs' loss came to South Columbus. So you would need to run the table and hope a whole lot of teams lose 2 games. But you're right, not out of it. I mean, that conference is one of the bigger ones in the entire state, and I mean, you can almost consider it's one of the better conferences in pound for pound, where you look at 4 2A teams that all could easily make the 3rd round this year, I think, in the playoffs with South Columbus, East Blade, and Whiteville, and Red Springs. So that should be a good one. Again, follow Owen tomorrow night, Owen Hassell, SN on Twitter for updates from Hoggard at Ashley. Follow myself at Star News Varsity for updates from Top Slut Laney. We'll have recaps for you online tomorrow night, and not doing our full football page Sunday with kind of the lighter action, but we'll definitely take a couple look backs at some of the games that we went out to on Friday night. So hope everyone enjoys. Hope everyone is safe through Michael, and keeping our fingers crossed we get a little bit lucky with this storm. So everyone have a great weekend.